right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, 5 signs that you are clairaudient. First, I'm going to tell you what clairaudience is. So, clairaudience is an extrasensory ability. It's a psychic ability that enables you to hear sounds in the spiritual realm, either higher or lower dimensions. And so, I'm going to be giving you 5 signs that you're clairaudient. And then I'm going to talk about it a little bit and share a little bit of story time, because clairaudience is a gift that I have had all my life. I've known that I've had it all my life. I just did not know what it was called for years. So, some of the signs, I'm going to give you 5 signs that you are clairaudient. And so, for me, I just didn't realize. I had no idea that that was what was going on with me, because one of the signs is hearing unexplained voices or sounds. And so I would hear all kinds of stuff all the time. When I was a little girl, I would just hear things all the time. And so I didn't have a clue. I didn't know anything about these gifts. I was stuck under religion, and my grandmother actually did know about them because she actually has them as well. But they didn't often call things like they call them now. Like now we have names and words and labels for everything. But back in those days, we didn't have all of that. Things just were as they were. They might not even have a name for it. Or it was a whole totally different type of name than the names we have for things now. So one of the signs that you are clairaudient includes hearing unexplained voices or sounds. And so how that started happening for me as I got older. Now, when I was younger, I think I blocked a lot of that out. It's like I remember hearing stuff, and I remember people talking to me, stuff like that. I remember departed loved ones have talked to me. So I am a natural medium. So I was experiencing all these things as a child, and it was a little bit rough. It was a little rough, because I would hear these sounds and nobody else would hear them. Nobody else would hear them. So that's number one, hearing unexplained voices and sounds that typically no one else hears, just you. Number two, feeling a strong sense of intuition or inner guidance through auditory perceptions. So when you start hearing messages, getting messages, and typically you're getting the messages from spirit, because they're little subtle energies, and a lot of times they're not overpowering messages. They're just short messages, because it's a different realm the departed loved ones are in. They're still with us, but they're in a different realm because they are not in a body anymore. They're just spirit. So the third sign that you are clairaudient is experiencing heightened sensitivity to environmental sounds and subtle energies. So if you are sensitive, like I know for me, I cannot deal with super, super loud, high-pitched noises. It irritates the mess out of me. Something about it. And then also what I noticed too, as I've grown in this, is too many sounds just are too much. I used to could filter out through a lot of sounds and different things, but now it's like if I hear like at my job, I was in report, and then somebody else, 2 other people were having a conversation right next to my ear, and then somebody else was over here having a conversation right on the other side of me, and I could barely hear what the person that I needed to hear was saying. So I had to tell everybody, can you please take it down? And so that also is something as well, because it's a sensitivity. Number 4 is hearing ringing or buzzing sounds in your ear. And that was to me how it started. I started just hearing ringing and buzzing, and, from nowhere, nobody knew where it was coming from. It was some crazy stuff. And so I thought that, possibly I thought I might be losing my mind. And many times there are many people that end up in the psych ward for that reason, because they start having, their gifts start opening up. They start hearing things, people speak to them, or, different information dropping into them, and they don't know where it's coming from. And many times they get scared. It's frightening. It is. I'm going to say so. And I used to work in a detox psych hospital, and I used to work in intake. And so when some of the people would ask the people, did they hear or see things that other people didn't hear or see? It depended on who they were talking to, because when they talked to me, I understood it because I got them gifts too. And most of them where I lived at in Arizona, it was native. There was a lot of natives. So, they're definitely in tune, in touch with their intuition. Definitely. So that's a whole different thing. It's a whole cultural thing on that. So number 5 is receiving telepathic auditory messages. Receiving telepathic auditory messages. So if you are receiving these messages and you're receiving them auditorily, and the thing is it can be in your voice, it can be in someone else's voice. I have heard things in my voice. I've also heard things in my grandmother's voice. I've heard my grandfather speak. I've heard different things. I've heard I have an auntie that was really close, and I hear her voice sometimes. They called her Sister Dodge was her name. And so I would hear her voice sometimes, speaking to me. So it was just so many different things, happening when I discovered, at a later age that I was clairaudient. Because, like I said, I've known it since I was young, but it was so scary. And I ran away. Like I hid in the closet for a long time, in the spiritual closet. I did. I hid because I was so afraid, and I didn't know, what was going on. And then, in the church, all of these things that we do as the devil. So I didn't really want to be, the devil. So I was like, okay, I'm going to hide this. And I did. I hid it for years, for a long time. And I actually, I was having medium experiences where, I would see dead people, but I would see them in the casket. So like, it was the craziest thing. So like I would say, if I saw you and, we were having a conversation, all of a sudden it was like a clip, like a clip just flashed before my eyes, and I would see the person in the casket, and I would see them with whatever they had on, so it was almost like they were showing me that they were going to die. And so I did ask my grandmother, what was I supposed to do with that? And she said that I needed to ask God, because she said I needed to pray, and then I needed to ask God, if I should tell them or what I should do, because I didn't know. I mean, how do you tell people that kind of stuff, especially if they're not actively dying? And so many times that was the scary part for me, is many times they weren't actively dying. They weren't dying. They weren't dying, like maybe they didn't know they were going to die soon. You know what I mean? And usually it was pretty soon when it would happen, like never longer than, I think the longest time for me was about a couple of years, because I saw one of my aunties. I saw one of my aunties, and I think I actually transposed the people, because there was a lot of them. These are my grandmother's sisters, and my grandmother was one of the oldest. It was a lot of them. I think it was about 15 kids, but my grandmother was one of the oldest, and then there were some younger ones. And so the younger ones were the ones that, their kids were like my age. And so I have cousins like that. So you know how it is with big families. You got the mama having a baby at the same time as the child and stuff like that. Um, but uh, but anyway, I started to really see stuff, and I started, as I grew older, I started accepting it because it came with the awakening that I had. I started accepting it because I already was a prayer warrior. I have always been a prayer warrior, and I'm still a prayer warrior. I still pray lots. So that was never a shift or a thing. But and then I started when I was at the church. I started my last church that I joined. I was on the prayer ministry for the phone. So people were calling on the phone, and we would pray with them. So that was cool. And I enjoyed that. That was one of those things, it was good. I enjoyed it. It was cool. But yeah, so I was already doing that. And then I went to ministry school. So Like I said, people come on here and say all kind of crazy stuff, but I love God. Just my religion. I can't get with that. Even though Jesus is my healing guide. So when I do healing work, Jesus works with me. Jesus and Mary Magdalene, Archangel Michael. Typically, those are ones that come in with my healing work. So, anyway, 5 signs that you are clairaudient. Hearing, number 1, hearing unexplained voices or sounds. Number 2, feeling a strong sense of intuition or inner guidance through auditory perceptions. Number 3, experiencing heightened sensitivity to environmental sounds and subtle energies. Number 4, hearing ringing or buzzing in your ears. Number 5, receiving telepathic auditory messages. So those are 5 signs that you are clairaudient. So what am I going to say? Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe, and that you check out the video that is going to probably be over there for you to see the next one that is coming up. And those of you that don't know, I do healing sessions, and typically in my healing sessions, you get some healing, you might get some psychic messages, you might also get messages from your departed loved ones, but that's what happens in a healing session. So if that's something that you are looking for, make sure that you send me a message. I also do mentoring, and I have a couple of different ways. Like I have a 3-month mentorship program, a 6-month mentorship program, and I also have a membership where we're going to be doing all that too. But of course, it's not going to be a lot of touching the membership. However, with the membership, you're going to get 20% off of, whatever the next service that you do. So again, thank you so much for hanging out with me. But this was 5 signs that you are clairaudient. And I hope that everything is lovely in your world, and that everything is magical, and that you understand and know that you are the magic. You are the magic. So be your own guru. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Thank you for following me on TikTok, because that is the other place where I go live as well. And I go live there. We're doing readings, me and my partner Tracy, Clairaudient. So we've been doing readings there on TikTok. So if you want to come over there and grab a reading, of course the priority is to the gifters, but we are doing readings, free readings, and we also do healing and prayers for people if they need it. So that's something that is working for you. Come on, join us. We'll be live probably later on today, and we're going to try also to go live tomorrow. So again, thank you so much for hanging out with us. I hope that everything is working out well in your world, and I hope that is all magical. So be your own guru. Stand in your magic and be your own guru. Have a wonderful rest of your day, evening, night, weekend, whenever you catch this. Thank you for joining, and I hope that life is good for you. But y'all know what? It is sun shining in the Pacific Northwest, so life is good for us. So thank you so much for hanging out. It's been such a blessing. And I will see you guys on tomorrow. Bye now.